Stick around for the show. What is up, everybody, and welcome to TWIG, the Week in Geek. This is our weekly geekly news show that we do here on twitch.tv/checkpointchurch every single Thursday, although this is actually the last Thursday that we'll be doing it. That's right, we are moving to Tuesday nights. So if you are a active member of TWIG, you watch every single week, know that we will not have an episode of TWIG next Thursday, and then the week after that, we will be back on Tuesday. So yes, everybody in the chat, say hi, YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, we appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to still interact with us down in the comment section. But if you want this live interaction right here, then you should be watching on twitch.tv/checkpointchurch coming up on Tuesday nights instead of Thursday mornings. So stay involved, stay invested. We're excited to see what TWIG does next and how it continues to evolve and turn into something exciting with bigger guests, more exciting things going on, new segments, and all sorts of polish that we're hoping to bring to this news show that we've been working on. With that, we're going to get right into it with our first segment of the show, which is what are you watching? What are you playing? What are you reading? I will ask the chat. I'll ask you, YouTube viewers, to type down in the comments down below. Let me know, what are you watching? What are you playing? What are you reading from the past week? I am currently watching, believe it or not, still that stinking vending machine anime. I'm into it. I'm invested. I want to know more. I don't know why I like this show, but I do. I'm also watching Mushoku Tensei Season 2, trying to catch up on all the wonderful things that are happening there. And then hopefully I'm going to watch that They Clone Tyrone movie on Netflix. I very much want to see that. So it's something that's like right there on the precipice. It just is going to take the time to actually get to it. I am in the post game of Pikmin 4, and I'm telling you guys, it is just one of the best games. I think that it is just chef's kiss of a game. Absolutely worth your time. If you ever enjoyed a Pikmin game, you must play it. If you think you might enjoy a Pikmin play, I would highly recommend that you play it. But it is just the best, and I'm really enjoying it. I am reading The Last House on Needless Street for our book club, and also one of the Manga Spice Cafe ones, River's Edge. Really enjoying it. I'm also reading Goodbye Eri, which is from the guy who made Chainsaw Man. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm only sort of a fan of Chainsaw Man. I think it's a little bit mid, but this is better than Chainsaw Man. This is a really good story, and it's being told in a really good way, and I'm super enjoying it. So far, let's look at the chat and see what other people are doing. Wise and Lemur just started a book called Devotion, about the Korean War and unlikely friendship between pilots. Cam says, started Death's Door last night and finished watching Good Omens 2. I've never watched Good Omens, but Death's Door is an amazing game. Really enjoyed that from beginning to end. I believe we played the entire game on stream here, and we had some challenges. We had some challenges, but we had fun doing it. Perry says, playing Undertale for B3 and finishing up a Psalm for the Wild Built. Love that. Zando says, playing Street Fighter 6 Gravity Circuit. Finally got all those achievements and just starting The Messenger. The Messenger's been on my backlog forever. I'm excited to hear what you think about it. Sneaky says, watching the end of Season 3 of The Witcher, reading The Last House on Needless Street. Are you loving it, Sneaky? Because I'm telling you, I can't stop listening. It's been a while since I've had an audiobook that I don't like stop at the chapters, because, you know, I have a pretty good process of reading one chapter of something a day. I read 4 chapters of Needless Street today. I'm so invested in the mystery. I'm here for it. I love it. I'm so excited. And then playing Jedi Survivor and Undertale. Love that. Perry says, loving Good Omens 2 so far. We're 2 episodes in. I'm very interested about it. I don't know. I've never really gotten it. I don't know. We'll see if I ever pick up Good Omens. I'm so behind on TV shows anyway, and I always end up just watching anime, and that's typically where I kind of land. So maybe one of these days I'll catch up with it and finally get into the show. With that, we're going to get into some news items, so keep letting us know what you're watching, reading, and playing, but we're going to get into some of the exciting things happening in the nerdy news world. So let us hear some of the exciting things going on in the nerd world, one of which has already been kind of the topic of the day over in our Discord, Discord, if you want to join that on Twitch, or it'll be linked down below on YouTube. The first most exciting piece of news that I've heard in the last 24 hours, Post Malone buys The One Ring. There's an article reporting that famous rapper Post Malone has purchased a unique Magic the Gathering card, The Lord of the Rings, The One Ring, which was previously valued at $2 million. The original owner of the card, Brooke Trafton, shared a video of himself meeting Post and selling the card. While the exact price Post Malone paid remains unconfirmed, it is believed to be a significant amount given the card's valuation. The One Ring card is now likely the highest-selling Magic the Gathering card, surpassing the previous record held by a $540,000 Black Lotus card. Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth set, which includes the One Ring card, was launched in June 2023 by Wizards of the Coast. I have been interestingly following this. I'm only sort of interested in Magic. I played it a little bit back in the day, but I definitely don't keep up with the meta or with the cards. I love Posty, and so I'm very excited that this went to Post Malone. I think he is just a great guy. I always enjoy hearing from him and seeing him on social media. I can remember whenever he was first picking up, and I saw him over on the H3 podcast, and I just fell for him as a person. He's so interesting and just kind, and I hope the world is being kind to him. It certainly seems to be giving him more money than God, so we'll see how that continues to go. So I think this is a good thing all around. I'm excited to hear that Magic is still very much in the zeitgeist and still getting people excited about cards, and I would rather it go to Post than Logan Paul. I'm just going to say it. So glad that this happened, glad that this is there. Yes, it is the best case scenario. I totally agree. So let us know if you were excited about this. If you wish that you'd been the one to pull that card and get that 2 milli from Post, or just get to meet Post, is pretty cool. This is pretty interesting stuff, and I will keeping up with more of the things. This is kind of the peak of this because this is the card that everybody wanted to find, been found, now sold. Everything else from this point on is definitely going to be tiers down from this. So there may be some other really exciting cards to find, but this is definitely the big one. So pretty interesting keeping up with this and seeing that Wizards of the Coast kind of still has it and is definitely keeping their name out there. Next up, this one is personally exciting, probably just for me, but I'm going to share it anyway because you know who's in charge of putting together the news for Twig? It's me. So we're going to talk about the greatest movie ever made, the Digimon movie. The article announces that Bandai's Digimon franchise is finally bringing several of its early installments to Blu-ray. During Otakon, Discotek Media revealed that it has acquired the licenses for the English and Japanese versions of Digimon Adventure 2, marking the season's first release on Blu-ray. The series will be upscaled in Astro Res, and the English and Japanese versions will feature different extras, including art galleries. Along with Adventure 02, the first 3 Digimon films, Digimon Adventure Our War Game, and Digimon Hurricane Touchdown, are also slated for an upscaled Blu-ray release. While the original Japanese dub will remain intact, English dubs have been redone with the still living members of the original cast. Specific release dates for these Blu-rays have not been disclosed, and I did Google it and discovered they have confirmed that the Angela Anaconda ad that originally premiered at the beginning of the VHS for the Digimon movie will no longer be present. So while it is a bummer to not see that creepy Angela Anaconda ad, it is very exciting to me, number one, that we're getting Blu-rays of Digimon because that just means that there's another way for me to own this movie. It's one of my favorite movies ever made. It is probably my favorite movie ever made of all time. It's the number one movie for me. I absolutely love it. Love the perfect soundtrack, perfect art, perfect story. It got the nostalgia ring. I think it actually is a good story. 10 out of 10. It's one of my favorites. Besides that, I think it's super cool that voice actors are getting another turn to do their recordings. I think that's really neat to see that they're bringing back the original cast to re-record the English dub. I think Digimon has one of the best dubs ever as well. I think that it is better than the Japanese version. I know that we are a sub versus dub debate community as well, but doggone it, there are some dubs that are just better than subs, and this is one of them. And so pretty interesting stuff to see that they're doing such, the fact that I even got this article, that people are excited enough for it, and that they are supporting new or old voice actors with their same work and redoing it and revamping it and remastering it. I think that's exciting news, and I'm excited to own the Digimon movie once again, and this time on Blu-ray. I don't even think I have a Blu-ray player. Maybe, is the PS5 a Blu-ray player? I might have a Blu-ray player, but I definitely have never owned a Blu-ray, but this is one that I will own. Let me know your thoughts on that. Please do affirm that the Digimon movie is the best movie ever made. Next up, Mr. Beast is a part of a lawsuit and a reaction to the lawsuit. The dispute between YouTuber James Donaldson, popularly known as Mr. Beast, and the Ghost Kitchen Company virtual dining concept has continued. For those of you that don't know the full story here, you may recall the Mr. Beast burger that was all the rage over on DoorDash and other such apps probably 2, maybe 3 years ago. And some of it was real gross. Some of it was good, but most of it was really gross. This has been a weird deal that we've seen going on between some of these apps and some influencers, where they will essentially partner up with trending influencers to get sales. And so there will be a ghost kitchen that will premiere typically within another kitchen. So they'll be bought out essentially by like a Fats Cafe or something. And they'll say, hey, we would like you to also not only be Fats Cafe, but also be this other thing. And some of their food was real gross because some of the partnerships were not as good. And so Mr. Beast was pretty upset that there was nasty food served with his name on it. And so he opened up a lawsuit against the Virtual Dining Concepts team. And now Virtual Dining Concepts, also known as VDC, has responded to the claim, saying that it is meritless, that it is false, and that it is filled with inaccuracies. And they are also more unofficially saying that it is bullying, that there are bullying tactics being used by Mr. Donaldson. So we will see. I'm tangentially interested in Mr. Beast. I've never watched any of his content. I don't really get it, but it is hard to deny that he is just a prevalent figure on YouTube and in the influencer world. And I was also very intrigued by this whole ghost kitchen phenomenon that happened a couple years ago. So we'll see where this continues to go. I don't know if we'll bring this story back up on Twig, but I thought it was worth noting that this lawsuit seems to be deepening and getting a little bit more spicy in the way. Kickstarter. Kickstarter is our next story. Kickstarter has released a new policy on artificial intelligence. Although artificial intelligence is not really that new, it is certainly becoming more of a burgeoning force. So Kickstarter, the popular crowdfunding platform, is introducing a new policy concerning artificial intelligence. The policy, effective from August 29th of this year, will require creators to disclose if their projects involve the use of AI tools, such as image or text generation or any AI software. If creators fail to provide this information, their projects could be suspended. This policy will not affect projects submitted before August 29th. As part of this initiative for AI transparency, Kickstarter will include a new set of questions for project submission and a use of AI section visible on the project page. This policy follows discussions with the Community Advisory Council and other platform users regarding the increasing role of AI in various industries. So, interesting stuff to continue seeing this kind of progress forward. I don't know where we'll see AI, in other projects. Kickstarter is definitely one of the biggest one out there, especially as far as user base is concerned, just like kind of general consumer use. I think it's always best to disclose. I think that if you can disclose, then you're probably doing the right thing. I think that's the ethical decision for them to make. I'm glad that Kickstarter is going to be enforcing it, but I think that people should have been doing it anyway. I think it's probably pretty obvious, but this continues to be the conversation and trending topic in the education system and now in the market system as well, of how can we ensure that what is being done ethically. Curious stuff. I'm fascinated to continue learning more about it. With that, we're going to move into some sad news. We actually have two sad news back to back. Our first one, Feminist Frequency is closing its doors. After 15 years in operation, Anita Sarkeesian has announced that her media criticism and nonprofit industry resource center, Feminist Frequency, will be shutting down. The games and online harassment hotline, a significant project under Feminist Frequency, will also close at the end of September, with the rest of the initiative expected to conclude by the end of 2023. Sarkeesian stated that exhaustion and burnout contributed to the decision and expressed hope to see continued improvements in the industry. The hotline's director, Jay Lynn, will continue to maintain ReSpec, an accountability support space that originated from the hotline. Meanwhile, the hotline website will remain online as a resource hub, and Feminist Frequency co-host Kat Spada will continue to produce free episodes of the Feminist Frequency podcast. Now, I've never listened to the podcast, and I'm not sure exactly what the nonprofit does, but I do know that the Games and Online Harassment Hotline is a huge resource that I often point towards and support. So I am sad to see that that is kind of closing its doors, and I hope that somebody will kind of step into its stead and provide something. Just a hot take. I think probably somebody like Microsoft should buy it. Just saying. I think that there should be probably a bigwig that supports the act of creating a hotline for those who are being harassed online. I think that would probably be necessary. Maybe just the government, maybe just the U.S. government should buy it out and do something with that. I think that would be a good call forward. I don't know if they should buy up all of Feminist Frequency because that feels a little bit politically loaded. But as far as buying out the Games and Online Harassment Hotline, that feels not politically loaded at all. It should definitely be something that is considered and done in the near future. I'm excited that it's remaining as a resource site. I wish that it was remaining as a site that could actually be used and interacted with and a hotline that could be actively maintained. But that kind of work is tough to do, and maybe it's something that we as Checkpoint can maybe step into as well as a means of encouraging people and being a positive space for them. with that, our next piece of very sad news. Paul Reubens, otherwise known as Pee Wee Herman, his character, has died at the age of 70 after a private battle with cancer. Known for his work as a comedian, writer, and producer, Reubens' iconic character, Pee Wee Herman, delighted generations with its positivity and whimsy. Reubens developed the Pee Wee Herman character in the 1970s with Phil Hartman while they were both on the improvisational comedy team The Groundlings. Following the success of the stage production of The Pee Wee Herman Show and its HBO comedy special, Reubens' career soared with further ventures like the movie Pee Wee's Big Adventure and the TV show Pee Wee's Playhouse. I'm not going to read the rest of the article because we all know about his reputation hit, but he was actually able to revive the character back in kind of the 2010 and 2016 era with a new film and other things like that. It is always sad to lose an icon. I do think that Pee Wee Herman and Paul Reubens are definitely nerd icons. I've seen him in many spaces with some of my favorite comedians and people out there and movies out there, so it's sad to see. It's always sad to lose someone, especially to that beast cancer. So a pretty huge deal and a pretty notable person to have lost. We also did lose somebody from Euphoria. I don't watch Euphoria, so I'm not real familiar, but it's another actor. Angus Cloud, I think was his name. And so two hard losses this week in the acting world. Always sad to see and sad to lose people like that. So we do pass our condolences on to anyone that was in Paul Reubens' family. I'm not sure exactly who kind of continues on in that line or in that lineage or in that family, but always sad. And so absolute condolences to the family and any of those that are affected, and for us nerds out there that are certainly going to be sad about this loss. With that, we're going to move into our next segment of the show, a little bit more of a breath of fresh air. Everybody's new favorite segment of the show. Let me go find, hang on. Let me find it. Where is it at? I think it's this one. We're going to move into a new segment of the show. This is our second time doing it. Cryptic Critiques. So the way that we're going to be doing this game, for those of you that missed it last week, I'm going to be reading off 3 one-star descriptions of a popular video game. And the goal is for you to, in your head, make guesses about what you believe the answer to be. If you are watching this on TikTok, then make the guesses down in the comment section down below, or on YouTube, make the guesses before and see if you are right before we get to the third prompt. So here are your 3 prompts, your one-star prompts for very popular video games. Prompt number 1. It was fun, but that was 3 years ago. Any guesses? Anything populating in your mind just from that? Think about 3 years ago and what was kind of popular and trending. Prompt number 2. It's fun for approximately 30 minutes. Then every preceding moment is grueling. That's prompt number 2. Keep bringing those guesses. Prompt number 3. This game is evil. Do not play. Scary game created by evil cult who will brainwash the masses. Also, beware of blue. That should have given it away. I think Zando's already got it. It is indeed Among Us. The answer to this one is Among Us. These are real life one-star prompts that I got for that incredibly popular game. I do love that final prompt of beware of blue after all of this cult nonsense. So super fun. I hope that you like Cryptic Critiques, and this is a new little segment we're going to be working on and developing in the future of TWIG. Maybe whenever we have a guest on, I'll have them guess as well. So there we go. That has been your new favorite segment, Cryptic Critiques. Okay, with that, we're going to go to the Discord. Yeah, I've been wanting to play Among Us as well. I miss it. I do miss it. It was fun while it lasted. I think that it was fun, but that was 3 years ago is definitely very true. Okay, so now we're going to move into the Discord. This is news submitted on behalf of our members of our Discord. If you want to submit news as well, you can go to bit.ly/DearTwig, DearTwig. Submit your news over there. I try to check that as often as I can. But more often than not, just by being on our Discord server and posting news, I will find out some of the exciting stuff that you guys want to talk about. First off, our first piece of submitted news comes from Sneaky Pigs. Nintendo is reportedly planning to launch its next generation console during the second half of 2024, with development kits already with partner studios. This follows reports in May that Nintendo would not release a successor to the Switch until April 2024 at the earliest. The upcoming console is said to feature portable mode capabilities like the Nintendo Switch and uses an LCD screen to reduce costs. However, whether the console will support backwards compatibility with Nintendo Switch games remains unknown. Despite decreasing sales of the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo does not plan to rush the new console's release, instead aiming to maintain the Switch's release momentum. I don't know about that. I'm interested to hear where IGN got that idea that Nintendo Switch sales are decreasing, because I'm pretty sure it remains to be the greatest selling console of all time, and I don't think they need to be worried. I think Nintendo's doing just fine, and they'll release it whenever they release it. So pretty interesting stuff. I don't know what to believe anymore. I feel like I've heard this so many times at this point that who knows? Who knows? Maybe maybe, like, perhaps it's going to come out this year, or perhaps it's going to come out next year. Perhaps we're going to learn about it at Gamescom here in the next couple of weeks. I'm just not optimistic, but maybe. I would certainly like to see a Nintendo Switch 2. I would look forward to whatever they can improve with it, but time will tell what they actually do and what they actually proceed with. Nintendo is unpredictable. If there's one thing we've learned, truly unpredictable. Let's go with our next news article, this time from B-Surfer or H-Man. PS5 shuts the beep up. Sony has released a beta version of a system update for the PlayStation 5 that enables users to mute the startup beep sound. The feature has been well received by beta testers, causing a buzz of excitement on gaming forums and social media. While this mute function is currently only available to beta participants in select countries, the update is set to be launched globally later this year. Players have welcomed the new feature, with many looking forward to being able to game without disturbing others. Meanwhile, some users are also excited about the potential to just adjust the volume of the beep. So, pretty exciting news. I think that PlayStation has notoriously been known for just obnoxiously loud sounds with all their consoles. So, I'm glad to see that they're making some notes and that they are making some steps forward and changing and adjusting based off of desires of the community. So, I don't know. Are you going to turn the beep off of your PS5, or are you probably just going to leave it alone? As for me, it's at work. It's not at home, and so it doesn't bother anybody. I'm probably just going to leave it on. I'd rather honestly not peruse the settings to even find out how to do it whenever it actually does end up getting released. So let me know if you're planning on getting rid of the beep as soon as possible. Cam says Nintendo fiscal year data shared that sales were down in 2023, but 22% compared to 2022. Yeah, I mean, like, yes, of course, but everybody in the world owns a Switch, and I'm just not worried about Nintendo. I think that they'll do what they're going to do, and hopefully it's the right decision, but I'm so, like, I just thought it was an interesting thing to say that their sales are decreasing. I guess it is demonstrably true. It is statistically accurate, but I just think that that's not an actual, like, concern for Nintendo. I don't think they're going to push anything because of the fact that their wildly popular selling console is going to go down the hill. I don't think they're concerned at all. You don't have one, Alendris? Well, there you go. See, they've still got more people to sell it to, so maybe in the future. Don't all sales decrease? Exactly. It's just kind of inevitable. It's got to happen because that's the way it do. So yeah. Reading it as a slight and it's not as intended. Maybe so. And this is also ChatGPT taking all these articles and shortening them. So I just think it's an interesting thing to include, and we'll see if Nintendo makes any kind of jump based off of that information. I don't think so. With that, we're going to go into our next piece, also submitted by Sneaky Pig. Spider-Verse delayed. Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse has been delayed indefinitely. Sony Pictures has jumbled up a bunch of its movie release dates, pushing films slated for release this year to sometime in 2024. It's been rumored that animation on Beyond the Spider-Verse hasn't even started. In an interview conducted by Vulture, an experienced artist who has apparently worked on big-budget animations for various studios claimed there's no way Sony Pictures will hit its March 2024 release date. I think this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. With the writer strikes and with the actor strikes, we're going to see this continuing to push forward. I have a feeling that as far as the nerd world and the other world, all of the pop culture world is going to see a pretty big delay for quite a while now. So just anticipate that that's going to keep pushing forward, and we'll just have to be sad about it. But somehow we will recover. We will band together as nerds. We will support the unions, and we will say that we are okay with these delays, even if inside we're breaking into pieces. We need to support the unions and to support the peoples whose livelihoods matter more than our favorite movies, even if it is sad for us to admit. And then I'm not going to put it up here, but Cam did drop that you should go watch the Loki Season 2 trailer. I'm very excited about Loki. It's kind of a turn to force as far as Marvel is concerned. It's definitely one of my favorite things that Marvel TV has ever produced. So we'll see how it continues to go, and if it is a popular season as the first season was. I have a feeling that they will be able to at least continue on the magic, even if they aren't able to reach quite the peaks of season 1. So I look forward to hearing people's thoughts on that whenever it does officially air. With that, that is the end of our news from the Discord. If you would like to submit news, just be active in our Discord with exciting news and links and things like that, or submit your news directly to us at bit.ly/DearTwig. That is DEARTWIG. And now is everybody's real favorite part of
the show. At this point in nerd history.
Okay, these are all the things that happened today, August 3rd, throughout time and space. So first we're going to start off with movies that were released on this day throughout time and space. Back in 2018, Christopher Robin, the Winnie the Pooh kind of realistic live action film, did air. Back in 2012, the reboot of Total Recall. 2007, The Bourne Ultimatum, and 2001, Rush Hour 2. I love the Rush Hour series, and Rush Hour 2 was one of my favorites, although Rush Hour 3 certainly took a bit of a dip for me. Now into games, exciting games that came out throughout time and space. Back in 2022, last year, Hooked on You, the Dead by Daylight dating sim, did drop. It was a bit of a meme game, but it was fun nonetheless. 2018, WarioWare Gold dropped in the US and UK. Back in 2007, Mario Party 8 dropped on the UK. 2000, Armored Core 2, which they're actually finally making a new Armored Core game. I didn't know these games existed. I would have brushed right past it had it not been announced they were making a new one. And also Dynasty Warriors 2. So those two sequels both released back in 2000. In 1992, Kirby's Dream Land dropped in the UK. And back in 1970, way on back there, Marvelous Interactive, behind Harvest Moon, was founded in 1970. So, of course, this was way before they would dream up the idea for Harvest Moon, but an interesting fun fact nonetheless. Random information out there. This is not movies, games related. I guess it is sort of TV show related in a way. The first ever Mickey Mouse watch was introduced back in 1933 for the price of $2.75, which I imagine with inflation is actually a pretty steep little watch. So the Mickey Mouse watch introduced 1933. I don't know if Mickey Mouse is inherently nerdy, but I felt like that was fun enough of a fact to read because this is everybody's favorite segment of the show.
At this point in nerd history.
With that, we're going to move into our penultimate section of the show, which is upcoming releases for the week. Some things that we have coming out in the zeitgeist of the nerdy sphere. Movies, kind of a slow week, not a very exciting week. We have plenty of movies to see, honestly. But The Meg 2, the big shark movie, is certainly hitting the airwaves tomorrow on the 4th. And on TV next week, Strange Planet, the little alien guys that you've seen in comics over on Instagram and places like that, put together by Nathan Pyle. The TV show is officially airing, so we'll see if it's any good. I've seen trailers for it, and I'm not quite sure I get it. So maybe it'll do, but I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit of a flop. Time will tell. Games releasing in the next week. All the games releasing today. Baldur's Gate 3 is officially being released. It's been in upcoming and early alpha access for a while, but it is officially dropping today. I have a feeling people are just going to be dropping hundreds of thousands of hours into these hundreds of thousands of stories. It is a D&D RPG. Flutter Away is a new cozy game dropping today. Neon Noodles, Cyberpunk Kitchen Automation. It is a cyberpunk kitchen automation game. A Guidebook of Babel is a new point and click dropping today. Secret Summoner looks to be a kind of puzzler dropping today. Spade no Kuni no Alice, Wonderful Black World is a visual novel dropping today. Coming tomorrow, we have Mannequin, The Spotting, a horror game. Sklash, which is a one-hit samurai KO battler. The art looks super cool. Super Space Club is a new arcade shooter. Greedland is a top-down shooter. Coming out on the 7th, a game we actually played during our original demos game. Penny Larceny, Gig Economy Supervillain is a visual novel. Hammer of Virtue is an action game. Coming out on the 8th next week, My Mundane Life is Threatened by the Tropes of an RPG with 3 exclamation points is obviously a new RPG. It looks very silly. A Wrestle Quest RPG, that is a game where you get to essentially play as a up-and-coming wrestler, and all like the classic wrestlers that you know and love. We'll see how it does. It sounds like a fun little meme time, especially if they get the jokes in there right. Chickenoids Super Party is a new arcade game. Coming out on the 9th, we have Unidentified Falling Objects, a new Tetris-like. I Am Future, which is a new strategy sim. And Atlas Fallen, which is an action-adventure co-op online game. We will see where those continue to go. Let me know if any of those things have you very excited. I know our community at large is super excited about Baldur's Gate 3, and it looks like Cam is waiting for it to come to PS5. It does seem like a game that is going to take up a whole lot of time. I have never played Baldur's Gate 1 or 2, so I don't have like a ton of like nostalgia glasses for this kind of game. I do, as much as I like D&D, I really like homebrews better than the real story. And so I've never gotten into any of the D&D likes because I'm not about the rules of D&D. I'm not like interested in the mechanics of the thing. And so I've never been super drawn to the D&D likes, but time will tell, and I'm sure it's going to do just fine. From everything that I've heard, the people that saw in the preview and all sorts of things like that, they seem to really, really enjoy this and want more of it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this does and if it does make as big of a splash as it should. Curious to see where it ends up on the Game Awards. It is releasing pretty late in the cycle, but it is a pretty big deal, but it is in a certainly crowded year. Time will tell. With that, we're going to move into our final segment of the show. Well, before we do that, Alindra says, I played the first Baldur's Gate with my son and a friend online. It was fun. Yeah, it's one of those ones. We'll see. We'll see. I doubt I'll play it, but if it maybe. If it does good enough, maybe I'll play it. But it doesn't sound like my kind of game. It would be a much better game that I might watch, such as maybe watching on Cameron plus Deanna, like they're playing Final Fantasy 16 right now. That would be the kind of stuff that I would love from Baldur's Gate 3. With that, we're going to get into our final segment of the show, which is, of course, our Meme of the Week. Our Meme of the Week, our final segment here. This one is actually a bit self-gratifying. It is my own meme that I made as a response to Mark Driscoll, very much infamous ex-pastor, no longer serving his Mars Hill church, tweeted out about video games. And unsurprisingly, it's a hot take that is not a good take. And I'm not surprised at all that Mark Driscoll doesn't like video games, but I did retweet him. So the original tweet is underneath and the retweet on top. So Mark Driscoll said, video games aren't necessarily sinful, but they are stupid. For those of you that want to join a team, build a kingdom, conquer a foe, and win an epic battle, put the controller down and give your life to Jesus. I retweeted and said, oh, thank goodness Driscoll doesn't like video games. We're still cool, y'all. We're still cool. Phew, really dodged a bullet. So I had to take the opportunity to meme on him a little bit. I saw many of my peers in the nerd ministry world take things a little bit more responsibly and like try and be like, hey, it's okay. But instead I was like, no, it's not okay and you're a bad person. And I'm gonna be sassy back at you. Hunter Fan Mom, I recommend the Fall of Mars Hill podcast if you want to know more about Driscoll and his demise as a pastor of Mars Hill. And in my opinion, he should no longer have that pastor title at all. But regardless, that's not what Twig is for, but I'm happy to talk about it more in other times and spaces. But yeah, had to get a little sassy with my retweet there, and we posted it over in the memes and goofs, and people seemed to appreciate that I gave him just a little bit of gas. With that has been your week in geek, all the exciting things happening at Twig. Reminder, this is the final week of season 1. Season 2 is going to be waiting a week. Our first episode, our opening episode of season 2, let's see, the date will be August 15th. So August 15th is whenever the next episode of Twig will air live on twitch.tv/checkpointchurch. If you want to be there for the exciting first episode of season 2, be there August 15th, 8 p.m. until 11 p.m. I don't know when it'll be in that time span, but it'll be during that stream. And we're going to talk about all of the wonderful things that are going on with Twig and the Week in Geek. With that, folks, we're going to end this as we always do with our 3 things that we believe to be true about every single one of you out there. Number 1, we believe that God loves you. Number 2, we love you. Number 3, we believe that you matter. You're a person of sacred worth. The world is a better place. Why? Because you are in it, folks. With that, thank you for watching this first season of Twig and supporting it into what it is. I'm looking forward to seeing what season 2 turns out to look like. I appreciate all the viewers that have been along with us from the beginning, all the people that have participated in the chat, and I look forward to seeing what we do with season 2 and how we continue to engage. With that, and until the next time that I see ya, bye-bye!